case, you'll find differences between people, even though they have similar issues like physical or mental, similar disabilities, I would say. But there is always different because every human being is different. And some people are like very responsive, some people are not. So over the years, through my experience, I know like for a person that is very introvert, that you need to be like proactive to find the information out of them, or like they are not responsive, like you have to go like you have to put some extra effort to make them responsive, because they're not going to answer all the questions. So I know who is what, because everybody, like the people who I know, normally support coordinators try to refer from the people that they know, and obviously we have to give them options, and we give options from the options that we know, like
Yes, sure.
because like that's the good way to doing it, because if random, there is no point of playing blind because they don't know anything. And if that's why you always try to get a good support coordinator, because or experienced one, because like they know people over the time. That's what we do for a living. So I know like uh, 4 or 5 OT companies that are pretty good, like OT providers. I know some BSP social workers who is also BSP that are pretty good, like because I have worked with them. And I had their report earlier, and those report actually works, because like
Yeah.
I know like which kind of report will get maximum response from the NDIS, because even if you write like OT give the recommendation like 100%, you're not gonna get 100%. Probably you're gonna end up getting like 60% or 50%. If your report is uh, is written in such a way that NDIS would be like more responsive to, you might get end up 80%, but not more than that. So there is certain way that NDIS understands. I think NDIS doesn't have enough time to read all the reports. They understand
Yeah.
some patterns. So if they are confused, from my experience, I would say they just decline it. If they are confused about
Okay.
anything, they decline it. That's the
Yeah.
safest way of doing
Maybe
things.
if it's too long or too many like
Yeah.
complex words that no one understands what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always keep telling the therapists that at last, like you try to make a chart, like a table, like how much support you are recommending. Make it easy for NDIS, because they are not professionals. They are just general managers who are reading it. Maybe they are not OT. They are not
Yeah.
doctors. So they don't have that much in-depth knowledge like you do. So make it write it in such a way that anybody can understand and easily
Yeah.
understand. Don't create any confusion for them, because they're going to decline it,
Mm.
and they won't
It's a
even tell
really
you.
good tip. Really good tip for everyone who writes reports
Yeah,
to yeah, don't make it so confusing. Make it easy for anyone to pick up and read it and understand.
exactly. Because Indians don't read your whole report. Indians just read the recommendation part and probably the introduction part and the background, and they just make a decision. Because if they don't understand, they're not going to call you back. They're You're not going to get anything out of it. They will take more
Mhm.
time, and that's why like some like some change of circumstances, or like some review takes more time than the other, because like then they need to like take a look into it further, because
Mhm.
they're confused.
Yeah, yeah. Which
Yeah,
is not a good thing. If they're
it's not a good
confused,
thing. Yeah,
it's not a good thing. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So like depending on that, like if there is an urgent sort of uh, and what happens like sometimes like even I have to go with the urgency, because like there is like few people who can deliver the report if the that urgently, because like they have
Mhm.
capacity, and most of them don't. Then like in those cases, I have to go with the people who has immediate capacity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I just try to match them before, depending on the prior experience. I try to think like who will be a good match for who, and
Mhm.
I always give them options. Otherwise, because that's the must do. Otherwise, like at some point they will be thinking that probably I have something to do with the provider, because I didn't give them
Yeah.
options. So
Yes.
right,
Yeah.
because I just give them one option. That always there's always a like place of doubt for me, for my authenticity. I give you 3 options, you choose it. I don't know which one you're gonna choose. So like that keeps me away from the like biasness. Like I'm not biased.
Yes, that's
See your things.
important. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as part of then the participant having their choice and control of, of their own providers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the support coordinator, like I don't know, not everybody maintain it or not. Support coordinator should not be providing any other supports. Like for
Mhm.
example, I'm a social worker, so I'm thinking about social work intervention in near future. So then I can't be doing support coordination for those participants because of like
Yes.
a big conflict of interest. Because then I am the one that would be choosing the social work provider, and when I am the competition, then like obviously I will have intention of choosing myself. That's a
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Who wouldn't if they had the choice? Say, yes, pick me. I'm the
exactly.
best.
Exactly. That's why,
Yeah.
like, it's hidden. Like, if you are support coordinator, then you really can't be anything else. That's the big conflict of interest. So probably,
Mm.
like, I can do those interventions for the people that I don't coordinate. Some other people does.
Yeah.
Then I have to go and ask work from them, make connections.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as a social worker, like what is you mentioned like what in the future if you were looking to provide social work
For
services,
example,
what
like
kind of services are you interested to provide?
I'm very much interested to work on psychosocial disability, which I
Hmm.
think you're interested to, uh,
Yeah.
because of I think NDIS is funding more and more on psychosocial because mental health was not a thing like 10 years back. We only used to like focus on physical disability. If I know disabled, then I would be looking, oh, he has two hand, like two leg, like what's the problem? Like, I can see he's fine.
Yes, there's more that invisible disability, isn't it?
Yeah,
With the
yeah, exactly.
psychosocial. Yeah.
Psychosocial. So psychosocial can be like really serious, and they actually understand and like recognize it. And psychosocial uh, disability is getting more and more funding day by day.
Mhm.
And to diagnose, like think about one thing. For example, schizophrenia is psychosocial 100%. So how if you want to get a access like get a NDS access for a client that has been diagnosed with a schizophrenia, mm, so then you have to it's good to do some functional assessment because of NDS only pays for your functional loss. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter how what disability you have. If you have a significant loss, because NDS is not making you rich. NDS is trying to help you to have a basic function day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So if your functional loss is more than the other, then even having the same disability, uh, the one that has more functional loss will get more funding because the
Mm.
other one
Yeah.
is fine. So it has nothing,
Yeah.
but some people keep saying that they have the same primary disability, but like why this person has less funding? Because that person has less functional loss, because
Mhm.
that she should be happy about because he's lucky.
Yes. Yes, it should be a positive because it means that then they would need,
Right.
there's less of an impact that their disability has on their life.
Exactly.
Mm.
So the more functional loss you have, the more funding you will get. And I think like depending on those domains, we do the any sort of like therapies do the functional assessment, like
Mhm.
determine how much functional loss is there. So NDS is gonna cover that loss by giving money, and that money will be used to provide supports, which will cover the loss.